Well, welcome to another edition of the Late to Grid podcast. This is your host, Bill Snow, and I have a first-time guest on, Jennifer Bradford. We're going to hear from Jennifer in just a minute, but if this is your first time listening to the episode, thanks very much for joining us. I hope you heard about it from a friend, and if you are a returning listener, thanks for coming back and hopefully telling a friend, because the whole idea is that we're sharing the stories and inspiration that will grow our sport. And today I'm joined, like I mentioned, by Jennifer Bradford, whose parents probably raised her to be involved in motorsports. So we'll probably hear a little bit about that. But Jennifer, it's great to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Bill. I'm excited.
All right. Well, tell the listeners how you are involved in motorsports.
Yeah, so like Bill said, my parents were involved in motorsports. My dad has been racing for as long as I can remember. He and my brother both drive Formula cars. So that's kind of how I got started, I guess. I've been an SCCA member since the day I was born, basically. And my mom is involved in registration. She's the DA of registration for the Great Lakes Division. So like I said, I was kind of born into it, but definitely grew a passion for it. Now I'm racing. This past year I bought a Formula 500. And I raced that in a couple of time trials and autocrosses, and then this year I'm going to start to tackle road racing. So I take my driver's school in June.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So you've had I didn't know you could do a Formula 500 in time trial. That must have been a blast.
It is. It's a lot of fun. The cars are quick, so it's definitely a different type of experience. My brother had done it in a Formula SAE car, and then he had also done it in his Civic. But he drove in it, and it's pretty quick. It's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot.
How fun.
Yeah.
So for the listeners that are SCCA racers, they've probably seen your dad and brother on track. They've probably seen your mom, Peggy, when they've checked in at registration. So those are probably familiar names and faces to some of the listeners.
Absolutely.
But also your day job. You're a teacher. You do some cheerleading stuff. Any highlights you want to share with the listeners there?
Yeah. So I am a teacher. I'm an intervention specialist. So I work with students with disabilities. I have a classroom of 7 kids, and I absolutely love my job. I'm also a cheerleading coach. I coach at the same place I teach at, and I coach the high school teams. So we basically go year round. We have a football team, basketball team, and then we do competition. Our competition team was super successful this year, and we actually ended up going to state and placing 6th. And this is our first year competing, so I'm super proud of them.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
You compete on the track. You compete with cheerleaders. Competition all around for you.
Absolutely.
So how did that in 2022, how many events did you do?
I did 2 time trials and 2 autocross events.
And would you prefer, time trial or autocross?
Autocross is really difficult. They're so different. So autocross, it's very fast-paced. You always have to be looking ahead, and in the car that I'm in, you're so low to the ground that sometimes it's hard to see like what's coming next. So I love the challenge of autocross, but I definitely feel more comfortable in time trials just because I was raised on a track. That's where I've always been. But autocross is definitely entertaining.
It is, and you're right. I mean, especially in that Formula 500, trying to do an autocross, there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
That's a workout.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and it is. And autocross, you only get so many tries to, master the course. So, it's just really kind of a race to see who can master the course the fastest. So. Yeah.
We scheduled this to talk about the Day of Motorsports, which is a pretty cool event that's coming up. And before we dive into the details, you've been another part of your motorsports that you're involved with the SCCA region. It's the Neohio region that's here in Northeast Ohio, and you're doing so much. You're doing all the communications for the region. You're doing social media. You're helping organize events. You're sitting at expos and seminars and all this other stuff just to help the region grow. So can you tell listeners a little bit more about what that looks like, maybe even behind the scenes, all the stuff you're doing, how it
Yeah,
gets done, how it's
absolutely.
helping?
Yeah, so I've been a member of Neohio since I was born, like I said, and I had always helped my mom in registration, and been my dad's little quote unquote pit crew. But really, I would say probably 4 or 5 years ago, Bob and Dave approached me at a spring training event, and they said they were looking for a social media chair and that they thought that I would do great. And I said, I'll give it a shot. I mean, I don't really, at that time, I was, I was just graduated college or was graduating college, and had a teaching job, but I mean, I was up to help the region because like I said, born into it. And kind of took off from there. So for a couple of years, I really just focused on their social media. And then we started to put on events, and they needed a registrar. So with my mom being the DA of registration, it kind of fell into my lap, which is one of my favorite parts of my job. I love going and working registration and just talking to everybody because, you're the first face that they see, and it's just great to meet everybody. But so I started doing registration, which then got me more and more involved in all the other activities, because just because I'm in charge of registration doesn't mean I don't know what else is going on or aren't involved in the planning of things. So between those two jobs, I kind of have just kind of dabbled in a little bit of everything. So yeah, I'm just kind of like a behind the scenes go-to person, I guess. So if somebody needs something, they can contact me.
Yeah, it seems like you're always involved with something. You're always working on something,
Yeah.
getting the word out.
Yeah.
And talking about getting the word out, let's talk about the Day of Motorsports.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's important. Let's start with the idea and then the grant, and then we'll get into the specifics of the day. So walk the listeners through a little bit about how the idea came together and the grant you applied for.
Yeah, so a couple months, well, it's probably almost a year ago now, maybe in over the summer, I think. Dave had approached me and said, hey, there's this grant that you can apply for, the SCCA Foundation grant, and we can apply for something, so, what do you think about it? And I read through it, and I said, I definitely think we can benefit from this. So I kind of talked to Dave about it and threw out some ideas of some options we had, and went to the board and got some ideas from them. And after looking through everything, we decided on a volunteer/member recruitment day, because we felt that could benefit the region the most. So we put together a team that I am leading. I guess you could say leading. And we are working on, so we made the grant proposal, we sent it in, we got accepted for the full amount, so that was very exciting. So now we are in the crazy planning stage of making sure everything is ready.
That is super exciting.
Yeah.
Were there other grants awarded that you're aware of, or was this the only one?
I'm not sure. I know other people applied, but when we got they sent out an individual email to us. So we got I just got an email from them saying that we had been accepted, and that, we would receive our check in the mail. But I mean, that's pretty much it. I haven't seen anything anywhere else. So I don't know if it was posted anywhere or anything like that.
That's super exciting. Congratulations. All right, now let's go into it. What is the Day of Motorsports? Where is it being held?
Yeah, so like I said, it's a volunteer member driver recruitment day. And when we had originally started planning this, we were kind of going back and forth about a lot of details, but we know we wanted to have it at Nelson Ledges Racecourse in Nelson and Garrettsville. So that's kind of Neohio's main base. It's where we host almost all of our events for time trials and road racing. And we host some other things throughout the year sometimes. But yeah, so it kind of just made sense to have it there. It's a central location for us, and there's a ton of space there. So we knew that there was a lot of things that we could work with. And we have really good relations with the track. So it will be held at Nelson Ledges Racecourse on April 22nd.
All right. So volunteers, members, drivers, participants, anyone that wants to learn more
Yeah, it's
about
open
motorsports.
to absolutely anyone who is interested in motorsports. The day is completely free. You don't have to pay for anything. There's a lot of events going on, which I'm sure we'll get to later. But yeah, I mean, we're looking for anybody that's interested, and there'll be a ton of opportunities there for you to learn more about it, and just kind of feel it out and see if it's something that you're interested in doing.
Awesome. So what time does it start?
So we are starting the day from 8 to 9 with check-in, and we will have donuts and coffee from that time. And it'll kind of just be a time to walk around and kind of see what's going on. So check-in will be from 8 to 9, but we'll have registration open all day in case people can't make it at that specific time.
Understood. So then program at 9:00 kicks off. So
Yes.
what's going to be? Walk me through the day. What's happening?
I mean,
what can
the
people do?
Like I said, when we were originally planning this, we did not anticipate everything that we were going to be able to create. In our minds, this was going to be a small little event with a couple speakers and maybe some tables, and it has turned into this massive, huge event that I cannot even believe is happening. So we have presentations throughout the day. They're 30-minute presentations. So we kick off at 9 o'clock with Dan Dennehy from SCCA, and he's just going to give an overview of what SCCA is, and then field some questions. So that's a great session if you have no idea what we are, or even if you want to learn more. If you are a member and you don't know exactly what's all out there, that 9 o'clock session is a fantastic place to start. Then Bill, you are presenting. You're going to do car prep. And then we have a brakes presentation, a tires presentation, and a data presentation. All of those presentations are not just for one specific type of like racing program. They are going to be tailored to any type of racer, or even if you're looking to volunteer or just interested in learning more about those things. Those are great sessions, and all the people that are presenting are super qualified. So yeah, we're excited to have everybody there for that. So those are our presentations throughout the day, and we also have a whole list of activities that will be happening as well. So we actually paired with Cleveland Cars and Coffee, which is an organization that holds car events, like car shows, around the Cleveland area, and we're super excited to be partnered with them. They are actually hosting a huge car show throughout the day. So from 10 to 2, Cleveland Cars and Coffee, will have a car show going on, kind of on the outside of where we'll be. Everything is inside the track, but it's kind of like around where all of the presentations are. So they'll have a ton of cars there, and people can walk around and kind of see what's all with that. Neohio will be putting on some demonstrations from all of our volunteer specialties, so like our event operations, I guess you could call them. So if you're interested in volunteering or even just learning more about how an event runs, we'll have stations for all of our specialties. So we'll have timing and scoring, pit and grid, flagging and communications, safety, tech, inspection, registration, and then just kind of like a general admin. Some really awesome things that will be happening. Our safety team and our flagging and communications team, they are going to be doing some amazing demonstrations. So we have a rollover car that people will get to actually get in and roll over in a vehicle and see what it feels like. Completely safe, but yes, it's very entertaining. They will be setting some things on fire to show fire extinguishers and kind of how they work. And then they'll be going through some belting demonstrations so people can actually get in race cars and feel what it's like to be belted in, and then how, to safely remove somebody from a car. So yeah, those are going to be super entertaining. And then we have a lot, so sorry.
This is all great stuff.
Yeah, all of our programs will also be there. So autocross, road racing, rallycross, road rally, and time trials, they will all be represented with cars, like actual cars that are used in those programs. So I know my car will be there, and my dad's car will be there, and a bunch of cars will be there for you to actually go and see some real live race cars. And talk to those program chairs and see like what their program is all about. So Neohio does not just do like on the track racing. We do all different kinds of things, and a lot of people don't know that. So this event is great because we will all be in one place. You can go from station to station and learn about all the different events that we have. And for most of them, you don't even need a race car. You can do it in a street car. So some really great opportunities if you're looking to get involved, but you don't want to spend, a bunch of money on equipment. We'll have some vendors there, from 9 to 3. So they will be there to answer questions and for you to kind of go around and talk to some of our local vendors and sponsors. We'll be doing ride-alongs. So we will have, drivers bring their cars onto the track, and you can take a orientation lap, you could call it. So it's not super fast, but it'll give you the idea of what the track is like. They'll talk through some of maybe their strategies. You can ask them questions, talk about their experiences at Nelson, things like that. So we only have 2 hours allotted for that because they do have to close the gates for that. So if you want to do the ride-alongs, make sure you get there. That's from 10 to 11 and 1 to 2. We'll have multiple cars running at a time, but there will probably be a line depending on how many people are there. And then the day will end in a track night in America. So many things happening.
Yeah, so you're going through all this. I'm thinking this is all in one day?
Yes. It has been, and like I said, when we started planning this, we were not prepared. Like, I was not prepared for the amount of support that we would get, and the amount of people that would be interested in this, and I have been blown away this whole process. So there's so much to do, and it's a great event for everybody. Like, families can come out, even, anybody.
So I want to back up a little bit. I'm so glad we're doing this because this is, I think this is the best way to get the message out is for you to say all the stuff that's going on. So the Cars and Coffee car show, do folks have to sign up, pre-register, or can they just show up if they want to be in the car show?
From what I've understood, they can just show up and be in the car show because they did not give us a count of how many. They gave us an estimate of how many cars will potentially be there, but from what I understand, they just show up. Cool.
And then, so what if I'm interested in learning about autocross and rallycross?
There will be individual stations for everything.
But it's all not happening at the same time. So I could still learn about a couple different programs.
Okay. So those stations that I were talking about, they're open all day. So there will be somebody there from 9 to noon, and then from 1 to 3, and you can just rotate around those stations, and you can do that in between the presentations, or if there's a presentation that you're like, oh, I don't really need to hear this one, you can go and see what it's all about. But yeah, no, they'll be there all day, and like I said, they're all going to be in stations, all in a similar area, so you can just wander from one station to the next and just kind of see what it's all about.
Wow. This is so cool because, one of the things and one of the reasons we started the podcast was folks didn't know what questions to ask. They didn't know who to go ask. Yeah. They didn't even know that groups like SCCA might exist. Exactly. This event, if anyone's within driving distance to Northern Ohio and wants to learn more, sounds like this is the event they need to get to.
Yeah. And like I said, this event is for everybody. It's for beginners. It's for experienced drivers. It's for anybody that wants to come out. We're super excited about it. And we really, when we were talking to people, there are people in Garrettsville that had no idea that there was even a racetrack there. And that just blew our minds. I'm like, what? How do you not know there's a racetrack in the town that you live in? some people just don't know what's happening, and this, I felt like, was a great way to get the word out and get people interested. And sometimes people don't understand that, racing isn't just getting in a car and going fast. There's so many other things involved with it, and there's so many ways to get involved that don't even involve you getting in a car, or involve you getting in a car and it's not a race car. Like, there's just so many different things that you can do.
Yeah. I think just setting stuff on fire is going to get people there too. The safety team lighting stuff on fire.
The safety team is very excited about this. They are prepared for chaos, which is what will happen. But they're ready for it. They love it. So
that's excellent. And as silly as this may sound, although some of us have looked at the side of a fire extinguisher, we've never used one. And in that situation, I think having the safety team show everyone how to use it is going to be a great use of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the vendors, let's talk about food and vendors. So you mentioned coffee and donuts in the morning.
Yep.
Is there going to be a food truck, or if I'm there all day, can I buy something?
We will have a food stand, I guess you could call them. So they serve burgers and hot dogs. They'll be available from noon to 1 for purchase. Or there are some things in Garrettsville if you wanted to run out and grab something. But yes, there will be lunch for purchase available. The coffee and donuts are free. So after you check in, there'll be kind of like a central location hub for just general information, and that's where the donuts and coffee will be. So you can come hang out, talk to other people, and like I said, we're just gonna have a great day. And then the vendors, so those are sponsors of the event that are related to motorsports. So we have a couple brake companies. We have, I'm trying to think who else we have off the top of my head. I know we have you guys coming.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the other ones. I think Track First will be there, so a couple of racing equipment people, just kind of a general group of people involved in motorsports.
Yeah, my gosh, this is I'm loving this more and more. Now I'm even more excited. I was excited before we talked, Jen. Now I'm even more excited. Let's talk about Track Night in America. That might be new to somebody. What is it, first off?
So it happens in the afternoons, usually on a weekday. And it is for people to kind of come out and just experience driving on a track. There are no real prerequisite requirements. It's really just a chance for people to take their car out on the track. And it's mainly for street cars. It's a real beginner experience. So people that are coming to the event, I really hope that they take advantage of that just to experience what it's like.
And they need to pre-register for that.
Yes, I would, because that event is going to fill up very quickly. There's limited spots because they can only run until dusk. They have limited amount of time. So there will be a limit on that. So yeah, you'll definitely want to pre-register for that.
And I did my first Track Night in America last year. So folks, if you need to learn more about it, I will put a link to, we did an episode about how to prepare for Track Night. But basically, as Jen said, your street car, you, and a helmet, and you can be out there. There's a novice group, there's an intermediate group, there's an advanced group. It's all about learning how to be on track in a safe, controlled environment. Safety first. There's corner workers around too that can flag if something's not quite right. But if you're looking to get on track for the first time, or maybe you've been on track a couple times, great event to, especially this early in the season, to get some seat time and shake the rust off, so to speak. Yeah. How do folks learn more? If I want to see more about this event, where do I go find more information?
So the best place to go would be our website. So Neohio SCCA.com. And if you click on it's actually pinned to the homepage. So a Day of Motorsports event is actually pinned like right at the top of our page. And you can click on that and it'll give you everything I went through. So there's a flyer on there with the schedule, and then there's also kind of like a little blurb about what it is. And then we also have a Facebook event that's linked in our website, or if you go to our social media, which is just on social media, it's just Neohio SCCA. You can find it on there as well. So yeah, all the information is up on our website.
And folks, if you're driving, you can't write this down. Links to everything Jen just said will be in the show notes. So when you park, you can click on the show notes and then click on either the website. I'll have the Facebook event on there. I'll have the link to sign up for Track Night in America as well. Just a couple more questions, Jen.
Yeah.
Is there anything we didn't talk about that you wanted to?
I don't think so. I really want to encourage everybody to come out because, like I said, this event is for everybody. And even if you're you like to look at cars or you like to talk about them, like, this is a great event for you. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
We didn't talk about this question, but you are, I believe, the second female guest I've had. Now, you had motorsports in your blood.
Yes.
But let's say there's a lady out there listening that says, "Man, I really want to do this." I'm gonna probably answer it for you, but I want to see how else you would answer it. If a woman's listening to this wants to get on track, wants to learn more about motorsports, they should definitely get the day of motorsports.
Yes.
But if they can't, let's say they're listening in Kansas City, for example, what should they do? What should somebody do that wants to learn more about motorsports and actually get on track, get behind the wheel, or get to an autocross event?
Yeah, absolutely. So first, check out the SCCA website for any questions you have about the actual program. But SCCA recently put out a program that is geared towards women, I guess you could say, and women in motorsports. So if you go to the SCCA website, there is Women in SCCA. It's their the group that they've created. And they have bios of all different kinds of women who are involved in motorsports. But I would just encourage women just to get involved. I mean, there's no difference for us. I mean, it's the same thing for me going out versus my dad going out versus my brother going out. Like, I mean, once you're in the car, it doesn't matter. Like, no one knows. No one cares. It's just all about your drive and how much you want it.
Yeah, I think this past weekend at Sebring, they interviewed Lynn St. James, and they were talking about women in motorsports and things like that. And I think it was her that said it during the event, that the car doesn't realize if it's a man or a woman.
Exactly, yep.
So if a lady's watching, she was kind of like, listen, jump in. There's a lot of resources now, a lot of access to information.
Yeah,
just jump in the car and go. That's awesome. Connecting with you, if somebody wants to get a hold of you to learn more about it, how do you want people to connect up with you?
Yeah, so I have an email, social@neohioscca.com, and you're welcome to email any questions. I'm also, if you want to go to the Facebook page, you can message our Facebook or Instagram pages. And if you go to the website, there is like a little box to submit questions for. So all of those ways will get back to me.
Awesome. We'll put links to that as well as all the social media that Neohio has. So I guess we're down to the last question, Jen. This could, in your years of motorsports, have you ever been late to grid?
No.
No?
I have not. But I haven't had that many years of motorsports, so I'm sure it's bound to happen. I have been late to grid as a crew member. So I guess,
oh, yeah?
Yes.
Is there a good story there?
Well, I guess you could say that. When my dad was racing once, I don't know why it was just the two of us or three of us, but for some reason it was just me, my brother, and my dad. We were the only people there. And my brother knows so much about cars. He's an aerospace engineer. He races. So he was talking to my dad. My dad was on grid, and I guess they forgot to tighten something down on the car. So they were like, they got the 5-minute whistle. Dad was like, oh my gosh, this is it. Like, so I ran back to the thing, and as the cars were pulling out, I was running onto the grid to tighten whatever. I don't even remember what it was. Some piece of his body work. So, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But he was on grid. He was not late.
He was not late. Almost late to rolling
almost
off.
late to race, but yeah.
Yeah. Great. Well, Jen, thanks so much for taking the time to tell us a little bit more about your motorsports background and share a lot of information about the day of motorsports. I want to thank the listeners for listening. Don't forget to check out a few of our show sponsors, Atomic Autosports, ETC Coaching, and LMS EFI. Do me a favor, tell a friend about the show, and don't be late to grid.